What's up, Undisputed listeners? It's your boy, Shay Sharp. I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, Club Shay Shay, where we always do something before two something. Each week, I sit down with a guest for a drink and conversation, and as host and proprietor of Club Shay Shay, I've welcomed in esteemed guests such as Snoop Dogg, Floyd Money Mayweather, LeVar Ball, Isaiah Thomas, just to mention a few. Whether I'm talking to an athlete, a musician, an actor, or a lifelong friend, Club Shay Shay is a place where people share inspiring and motivational stories about their journeys to prominence. The new episode drops every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to Club Shay Shay now and make sure you never miss a new episode. Now back to Undisputed.
Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. We've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it. Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Good morning. How are we today?
Good morning.
Happy birthday, GOAT! Happy birthday, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, the one and only, the greatest ever by far.
Hold up. It's not December 30th. You missed the birthday. You missed it a couple of months ago.
What are you talking about?
You missed it a couple of months ago. December 30th?
Yeah.
December 30th?
I missed it on purpose because we could have talked about the golf goat on that day, but not the basketball goat.
We talking about the basketball.
Yeah.
Think about it. There's a lot of goats born on that day, Skip.
Yeah.
A lot of goats. I thought maybe we'd have balloons falling from the ceiling to celebrate, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it. How about last night for the Lakers and the Wolves? Not so lucky for me. We're going to talk about LeBron on the court and that game, but he also gave a huge endorsement of Draymond Green's rant about the double standard players face when they want to trade versus when a team wants to trade them. The King posted the clip on social media with the caption, "Facts," and then went on to further back Draymond's point when asked about it after the Lakers win over Minnesota. Take a listen.
It's the narrative of what the league has always been. And, from a team's perspective, they've controlled the narrative. They've controlled the narrative of how players should be, how they should act, how they should, treat their organization. We just want people to understand that it's two sides of the coin. It's not just one-sided.
Shannon, do you like what LeBron said?
I do. I love what he said. And basically, Skip, he's saying, look, teams will always say, we're doing what's in the best interest of the team. We're trying to get better. We're playing younger guys. We want to take a look at these guys because we feel this is going to help us in the future. Well, when guys want to ask for a trade, they want to do what's in the best interest of them. They want to say, you know what, right now you don't have what it takes to help me win a championship, so I want to move elsewhere. But then he get labeled selfish. When LeBron James, what happened? Did that happen, Skip? Yes or no?
Okay, but why did it happen?
It doesn't matter. See, there you go. Now you offering the reason why. Why are they sending Andre Drummond?
Okay, remember, LeBron left Cleveland the first time without a peep of gratitude, like, I love you, people.
Skip, you don't know anything.
It was cold-blooded. It was the decision.
You see?
I'm taking my talents to South Beach, and it left all those great Cavalier fans just feeling empty, like he betrayed us.
What you did was confirm what LeBron said, the narrative and how the team paints it. If you leave us, you're selfish. You don't give a damn about the fans. Team trade players, we care about you so much, we're trying to get someone better. All you just did was confirm what LeBron and Draymond had been saying. He owed it. LeBron don't owe it to the fans to tell them his next business move. Hell, Steve in accounting didn't tell us that he was leaving Fox and going somewhere else.
Did he owe it to his owner just to give him a phone call and say, hey, thanks, but I'm out?
Skip, he owed it to his owner, says, look, I need you to put players around me in order for me to help me win championships so I can stay. When that didn't happen, LeBron left. LeBron and Draymond are basically saying teams will always do what's in the best interest of teams. They trade players, they release players because they feel that's in the best interest of the team. But when a player wants to do what's in the best interest of themselves, all of a sudden they're cancers. All of a sudden they're selfish. All of a sudden they're malcontents. They didn't handle it properly. Okay, all he's saying is that if you have the ability to trade me, if you want to feel like you can get someone better, or better increase your chances of winning, I want to have that same freedom. I want to have that luxury when I want to leave to go somewhere else that presents a better opportunity for me to win. That's all they're saying. But somehow the fans don't understand that. And he says the league have done a great job of putting that narrative out there. We do what's in the best interest of the team. Players only do what's in the best interest of themselves. Well, the team is of its, the owners, they're doing this what's in the best interest of you. Not in the best. What about me? I'm a part of the team, so you don't care about my interest, only your self-serving interest. So I agree with LeBron for signing this. I put some emojis and some fire emojis also. I agree with Draymond. The narrative is if a player asks for a trade, he's being selfish, he's being ungrateful. But I forgot, once you get $200, $300 million, just shut up and just play basketball. You shouldn't have anything to complain about.
Okay. I got a lot to say about this because I am completely lost on what Draymond said, number one, and what LeBron co-signed last night, number two. It may have something to do with the fact that LeBron and Draymond are business partners and uninterrupted, and LeBron has switched over to be a Clutch client. So maybe LeBron thought, I got to have my teammates back here a little bit. I've got to validate. I've got to endorse what he said.
Every time someone agrees with someone, you can't think is an ulterior motive.
Okay, all right. So now, just to be clear about the decision, I was one who stood up on my old show on ESPN the day it happened, and I said, good for LeBron, I'm all for you. He did not handle it very well, PR-wise, which shocked me because he is the PR king. And I think Maverick Carter, who's the brains of that operation, would like that one to do over. That would be a do-over because it just came across so cold-blooded that he just left Cleveland high and dry. That was my only issue with it. But the fact that he played out his option, he was a done deal. He was a free agent, and he chose to join forces with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and Pat Riley in South Beach. I am 1,000% great with that. And to LeBron's credit, when he has moved, he has always had the right to move because he was a free agent.
Oh, really had the right to move. So why to burn the jerseys?
Well, I just explained it to you. He handled it miserably. Those people had been all for him. They had lived and died for him. He was their own from Akron, just down the road from Cleveland. You know and I know he completely blew it. And I think they would admit that now, but that's not what we're talking about. I want everybody out there to understand that LeBron James, the face of the league, just co-signed Draymond Green saying it is just fine if a star is under contract to a basketball team for that star to quit or pout his way out of town if he is unhappy. And they all do it, and they get away with it, and nobody says anything about it. Nobody condemned James Harden for it. Everybody said, well, that's just the way it works in the NBA because the players run the league. They have their freedom, even against contract. I have a contract, and by God, I honor my contract. I think you would honor your contract. I don't try to quit my way out of here. I don't try to pout my way out of here. And this is a shame that LeBron James is endorsing this kind of behavior. And let me run down the list of what we've seen. James Harden flat out got fat and quit his way out of Houston. Nobody disagrees with that. Anthony Davis pouted for a whole year to get out from under his deal in New Orleans. How about my man Kawhi Leonard? He just quit his way with some quote-unquote tendinosis of the quad all year. He just shut down and would not play for my Spurs.
Just like it.
Yeah, you love it. And how about Kyrie? He got sick and tired of LeBron James, and he told Dan Gilbert, get me out of here. And Dan said, okay, where do you want to go? How about Boston?
Right.
Does that work? How about Paul George? He gets word, Kawhi's landing with the Clippers. Nobody knows this. He's not going to LeBron. He's going to the Clippers. And what did Paul George do? He went to Sam Presti and say, I'm sorry, I want out. And Sam Presti said the next day, well, I didn't want him pouting for a whole year, so I said, okay, let's do a deal with the Clippers to get him out. So all these players, Russell Westbrook last year said, I've had enough of James Harden. Okay, where would you, how about Washington? Will that work? Yeah, I'd love that. I'll go play with Bradley Beal. Jimmy Butler in Minnesota. I can't take these silly kids. Just get me out of here. Get me someplace where how about, let me go. Okay, so we have one after another, just quit or pout or or basically just stand up and say no to an owner, like, I'm gone. And they're all under contract. And that's the way this league works. And do you love that? Does LeBron love that? Does Draymond love that?
You see, the players are under contract and should not ask for a trade. But the same player can be up under contract, and you can sit him down until you find a new suitable home for him.
Okay, look. It's collectively bargained. Yes, the owners have the right to trade you. Okay. So why didn't LeBron James, the last time the deal came up, why didn't he take a stand as the leader of the players? I know Chris Paul's
the leader.
He's one
guy, Skip.
Okay,
he's one guy.
Take a stand and say no. Tell everybody, tell your rank and file players, we're going to have to sit out a whole year. You're going to be without a paycheck for a whole year because we are going to collective bargain that you cannot be traded.
LeBron James will always do what's in the best interest of everybody. Sure, LeBron James could miss a whole year. LeBron James make more money off the court than on the court, so he can miss that. But there are other guys that don't have that luxury. All I'm saying is this: if you have that energy and you're fine with a team being able to sit a healthy player and trade him, you should shouldn't have a problem with a healthy player saying, you know what, I don't want to play here anymore. I'll put me somewhere where I can go win.
Okay, so how can I get all worked up and feel huge pity for an Andre Drummond who makes $28.8 million?
Stop basing everything on money.
Okay, but he is very well paid for what he does. He has led the league in rebounding 4 times. He is now 0-8 in playoff games. He's playing for the 3rd worst team in the Eastern Conference, the Cavaliers. And as J.B. Bickerstaff, their coach, said the other day, he said, I have a ton of respect for Andre as a human being and a basketball player. We always want to do right by our guys. Well, it leaked out because we have some of the most crack reporters that we've ever had.
Ain't nobody leak it out, Skip. You can't get no information out unless somebody tell you.
Okay,
can't leak that.
When you start trying to shop a player, when multiple teams get involved, then Woj at ESPN or Shams is going to get a hold of it. And once it gets out there, the team that you're playing for is screwed because what can they do? They're not trying to mistreat you. They're not trying to oppress you. They're not trying to humiliate you. They're just stuck. And when a trade is imminent, they want to shelve the player so he does not get hurt and blow up the trade.
Guess what happened? Players go behind the scenes. Anthony Davis was behind the scenes telling Dale Demps he wanted to be traded. Dale Demps leaked that information. James Harden was behind the scene telling Houston he did not want. He wanted to get out of there so bad. You keep mentioning Andre Drummond, $28 million. James Harden turned down a 2-year, $102 million extension because he wanted out. Houston leaked it to make him look bad. When they want to make you look bad, they leak said information.
Didn't James make himself look pretty bad? Weren't you sitting here day after day saying he's fat?
Skip.
Wasn't he quitting his way out of town?
Skip, what I said about James Harden, and I stand by, he handled it unprofessional. I had no problems with him wanting to move on because he felt somewhere gave him a better opportunity. I talked about how he handled that situation, not that he wanted out.
Okay, so think about this. The last 2 NBA championships have been won because a player quit his way out of town or powdered his way out of town. But think about it. Did not Kawhi go to Toronto because he quit his way out of my town, San Antonio?
Tendinosis.
Okay, but he did. That was the classiest organization, the Patriots of the NBA. And Kawhi Leonard said, hell with them. I got to get out of here. I don't like it here. I don't like Coach Pop. I got a contract. I got it, but let me go.
Skip, you know it was more to it than that. The man was hurt, and you guys didn't believe the extent of his injury. And so what you had them do is they called a team meeting. They put Kawhi on the hot seat, and Tony Parker opened his big mouth and said he had an injury 1,000 times worse than Kawhi.
He had a ruptured quadriceps. Ruptured versus some tendinosis.
The one thing one should not do is tell someone else their pain in which they're feeling.
All right, but everybody agreed Kawhi was done with the Spurs, so he just shut it down.
Skip, I don't believe Kawhi would have been done with the Spurs if y'all had just left him alone and stopped trying to put him on the hot seat.
But the point was, he forced his way out. They shipped him to Toronto, and Toronto benefited by winning a championship. And I'm not sure Toronto will ever win another one.
Probably
not. They got one.
They got one.
And Anthony Davis pouted his way out of town, and now everybody involved with the Pelicans says we should have just let him go the first time around when it first broke.
Yeah.
When Rich Paul just flat out publicly demanded a trade, right?
Well, because they had requested this behind the scenes, and Dale Demps wouldn't do it because he's like, oh, AD having such a great time. You look at AD numbers. Did AD quit? AD was 29-13-2.
He was pouty the whole year, and they said it was a bad year. It was a lost year for them because his heart was not in playing for the Pelicans. Well, what happened? Thanks to that, LeBron won a championship last year, so that's 2 in a row. And guess what? We could have 3 in a row. If James Harden and company win this year's championship, that would be 3 straight times that a player quit or pouted his way out of a situation under contract and went somewhere and won a championship.
What about the Cavaliers quitting on Drummond? They quit on him.
Okay, how do you figure they quit on him?
Because they won't play
think
him.
about it.
He held
Okay, they got Jared Allen in trade, and he is their future. So what would Andre Drummond rather do? Would he rather play 5 or 6 minutes a night for the Cavaliers?
I'd rather play my allotted minutes.
Okay, well, the allotted just fell to 5 or 6 minutes. They're playing Jared Allen 35, 40 minutes a night.
Because you're trying to move on. Hold on. Did you not know you had Andre Drummond? When did you realize you had Andre Drummond on your roster? Was it before or after you traded for Jared Allen?
Okay, well, they upgraded. They got a younger, better player.
Okay.
Who's better, Jared Allen or Andre Drummond? I'll take Jared Allen.
Skip, Jared Allen, look, until Jared Allen leads the league in rebounding, until Jared Allen makes an all-star team, come back, visit me when he makes an all-star team.
I'll take him right now, and they're saying we are going forward with Jared Allen. So all of a sudden, Andre Drummond is not being docked his check. He gets his money every night.
Well, let me ask you a question. Was James Harden docked his check? James Harden dropped 44-17. James Harden dropped 33-15. James Harden was playing unbelievable. So what was the problem?
Okay, but then his own teammates trashed him.
Yeah.
What did John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins say? He quit.
They trashed him because he trashed them first, saying we don't have enough. And when they lost to got blown out by the Lakers.
So how much pity do you really feel for an Andre Drummond who has never won a playoff game and is now on the cusp of going to a contender where he might play, I don't know, 25 or 30 minutes a night and have a chance to win some playoff games?
The Cleveland Cavaliers knew Andre Drummond had not won a playoff series. Cleveland Cavaliers knew all of this, but still yet they traded for him. Now, all of a sudden, we want to get younger, we want to get better, so we're going to bench Andre Drummond. So guess what? James Harden says, you know what? I've done all I could here. I want to go somewhere where I can win a championship. Now trade me. So what's the difference?
What do you mean, what's the difference? I mean, it's like an apple and an orange. It's completely different.
And they both go in fruit trays.
Okay. So what are you talking about?
Skip, what I'm talking about, you said because he signed the contract, the team also entered into that contract. As long as you make money, you make it $150 million, because you keep bringing up, Andre Drummond has made $136 million.
I didn't bring it up, but you just
yesterday.
did.
He should be content with that. Guys making $200 million, that's besides the point.
No, he should be content with the prospect of going to a contender, unless he doesn't care about winning.
Skip, I want to play basketball. I am a player, and you're interfering with my minutes. You're interfering. I'm a free agent.
They're already done. You're done. When they got Jared Allen, they said, you are finished. You're going to be at the end of our bench.
Skip,
5-6 minutes a night.
This only happened within the last week, because I watched them against the Lakers get 25 and 22.
Okay, but it happened, and it's over and done. You're out.
Okay.
So why wouldn't you want to go somewhere? And to get there, you're going to have to take a few nights off, because it has now leaked by somebody who knew what was going on in the media. The media is really good at what the media does. So all of a sudden, Cleveland's on the hot seat like, well, we can't play him, or we could just tell him to go ahead and suit up, and you're going to play 0 minutes.
Well, that's what James Harden.
That would be mistreating. That would be disrespectful.
Well, James Harden was dogging it, because he said, if I get hurt, I'm not going to get my trade to get up out of here. So what's the difference?
You're under contract, James Harden?
Andre Drummond is under contract.
Okay. Shannon Sharp, who has the right to trade players by collective bargaining? Every owner in this league does.
Yes.
If you don't like it, fix it. LeBron, fix it.
They did.
Go do it. Go to war.
Guess what James Harden did?
Go to war.
No, we don't need to do it.
Do the owners have the right?
Owners have the right.
Okay. But so is that wrong? Is the right or wrong?
Does the players have the right? Say, you know what? You're right. You have the power. This is your team. But I'm going to shut it down and make you get me up out of here.
Okay. So you're saying you're going to dishonor your contract.
I love it.
Did you sign the contract yourself? Did somebody hold a gun to your head to sign that contract?
The owner signed it.
Do you enforce that contract? And they are all guaranteed.
Yes.
Are you going to enforce that contract with your ownership no matter what happens to you, even if you get hurt? Are you going to get your millions?
I want to play. I signed this contract to play, and all of a sudden you no longer want me play. And when I no longer feel that you present me an opportunity to win a championship, I want out. I want out.
So you endorse that?
I endorse.
Really? Huh?
Well, I put my name on it and I stamped it with my thumb.
Is that what you want to happen in the NFL now? Any player that's unhappy, if they have 3 or 4 years left on their deal, they should say, I quit. Yep. I will not play.
Hold on. Skip, first of all, the NFL, Skip, they cut players with 3, 4 years left on their contract anyway. So I absolutely would love that.
Well, I'm just saying, we're trying to describe the NBA players as oppressed.
No.
I think they have 10 times the power that NFL players do.
I totally agree, Skip. I think what we're disagreeing on is that you saying you signed the contract, and if a team wants to move in a different direction from said player, they should be allowed to set the player down until they find either they buy him out or they trade him. I'm saying if a player wants to go somewhere else, he should be afforded that same right. Get him up out of there.
He has that right. It's called free agency.
No.
You have to play your way out of your contract.
So why not wait Andre Drummond finish up? He's a free agent at the end of the year. So why not let him fulfill his obligation?
Okay, because they have the right to trade him.
Okay,
and it was signed off on by LeBron and Chris Paul, and all the top players said you have the right.
I have the right, even though it's not collectively bargained. I have the right as a superstar player to shut it down until you get me up out of here. And that's why you see it. Superstar players can shut it down, and they always get what they want. So I'm for that.
Well, they have been getting what they want for years in this league, right?
2 thumbs up.
All the way back to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, won a championship in Milwaukee, and he is from New York via UCLA and Los Angeles, and he said, I can't take it here anymore. Get me out of here. And they said, okay. Where do you want to go? How about the Lakers?
Actually, Skip, no, he didn't want to go to the Lakers at first. He wanted to go to the Knicks.
Okay, but that's a nice second option, right? Because he went to school at UCLA for the great John Wooden.
Right. He wanted to go back home, but for whatever the reason,
the rest is NBA history. Back across the table, because I am open and open-minded to this.
Yes.
Is it possible there's some racial undertone?
You have the right, but I think the players are saying, if you have the right to sit us, buy us out and says, okay, I want to move on in a different direction, I should have, the players believe they should have the same right. If they don't feel the team presents them an opportunity to win, they feel they should have the same right to come to you and say, you know what, I don't think I can win here. I would really appreciate it if you move me somewhere where I can.
Okay. In all these little instances of players like Harrison Barnes one time got tapped on the shoulder while he's on the bench, you're traded.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know how to fix that because the reporters are so good at what they do.
Right.
It gets leaked. When you get multiple teams involved, it will get leaked. And all of a sudden, the team's like, the trade's not even official yet, but we got to notify Harrison.
Right.
He's not with us anymore.
Right.
Okay? I don't know how to fix that little loophole of a leak.
That actually happened to me. I was going to get traded to Green Bay on a Tuesday, but I played in the game against the Raiders that Sunday, and guess what happened? I broke my collarbone.
Okay. Okay. Well, there's a reason you shouldn't be playing in the game, right?
So that actually happened, Skip. And so had they not let me play in the game, but we were 0-for at that time. We were 0-for, and we obviously Mike wanted to win the game, and I broke my collarbone like in I think the third quarter. And the trade never happened.
Wait, and you're going to miss the playoffs?
Yeah, we started. That was in '99, the year after we had won back-to-back Super Bowl. John had retired. TD had just tore his knee up the week before, and so we're going to the Raiders. And I'm going to get traded. That too, the trade. I'm going to get traded Monday or Tuesday.
How did you know?
You know, Lil Birdie told me.
Lil Birdie.
Like you said, the reporters are really good at
They're
what they
really
do.
good. Maybe that was an Adam Schefter report because he was covering the Broncos.
He was covering the Broncos at the time.
And you could have followed in your brother's footsteps in Green Bay.
Yep, I could have.
Wow, what could have been?
No mercy.
Hey, Undisputed listeners, I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com. Reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app right now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, are just one click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. Download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com.
No mercy.
Hey, Undisputed listeners, it's Charlotte Wilder here to tell you about my new podcast with Mark Titus called the People Sports Podcast. It comes out every Thursday, and Mark and I take one of the big stories of the week, and then we go off on tangents you never saw coming. This might mean that we start talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series and end up wondering if Knicks fans deserve happiness. Or begin with LeBron's greatness and end up drafting our ultimate beer league softball team made up of old athletes. Whatever it is, the only rule of the show is that it has to be fun and funny, because these days we can all use as many laughs as we can get. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts and come down weird sports rabbit holes with us. We can't wait to have you.
No mercy.
Arians was adamant at the Bucs victory boat parade that he plans to bring all of Tom Brady's teammates back next year for a chance to repeat. And Pro Football Focus predicts that Tampa will do just that in their latest projection. PFF thinks the Bucs will successfully prioritize their top 3 free agents: Chris Godwin, Shaq Barrett, and Levante David. So, Shannon, can you see this happening?
I cannot. Shaq Barrett has made it abundantly clear. Shaq Barrett was not doing the politically correct thing and says, I don't want, I would love to come back. Shaq Barrett says, I'm looking to break the bank. And I don't know, Skip, some team is going to give Shaq Barrett 5 years, 6 years, probably $135, $140 million. And he's going to probably get somewhere around $70 million in the first 2 years. I don't see how Tampa matches that. Levante David is looking for, this is his last chance at a big payday. And this is an opportunity now. Could they franchise Chris Godwin? Sure. He's not going to be happy because he knows, Skip, at $15.8 million, I think that's the tag number for a wide receiver. Yep. Guess what happens next year when you got to split all those catches and your numbers are not what they were? That 15.8 next year might be, as a free agent, might be 12. He's going to want a long-term deal. I've never seen very few people have been happy with the franchise tag because you know basically it's a one-year deal. And anything can happen in a 1 year, a la Dak Prescott. And Lord forbid something were to happen along the lines of Alex Smith. So guys want that long-term financial security. So I don't see a scenario, Skip, in which they bring all 3 of these guys back. That's wishful thinking. But there's a reason why. Is that when you win, Skip, people come raid your hen house to steal your eggs. So you got some of the best players. Mm-hmm. They want them on their roster. Somebody's going to throw. There's a reason why, Skip, quarterbacks are the highest paid. The next highest paid is what? Pass rushers. So if you got somebody throwing the ball, I need somebody to go get his ass and put him on the dirt. Yep. That's what Shaq Barrett is. And Shaq Barrett is in his prime. He's never had a payday. He's made it abundantly clear, Skip, I need that. Our undrafted free agent, been playing for minimum contracts. Last year was the first year he made any money. And he really didn't want to Skip. He wanted to go to Cincinnati because Cincinnati had a 2-year deal, which was going to give him some security that he wanted. But they failed him on his physical for his shoulder. They snatched the deal off the table. He ended up taking a 1-year deal with Tampa for $4 million, parlayed that into the franchise tag. But I don't see it, Skip. I don't see a scenario in which they keep all 3. Maybe one. Now, maybe if you franchise tag Levante David, he's not going to be happy about that because he knows somebody got $12, $14 million out there for him over 3 or 4 years. Chris Godwin, he's not going to be happy because that 1-year deal, Skip, and you come back, they'll be there the whole year. Mike Evans, he'll be there the whole year. Gronk will be there, and Gronk won't need to try to play his way back into football shape. He'll be in football shape, having played the previous year. And you got Cameron Brake, O.J. Howard. Maybe they move O.J. Howard or something like that. But Scotty Miller, the other guy, Tyler Johnson. So for me, Skip, I don't see any way under God's green earth that they bring all 3 of those guys back.
Shannon Sharp, I hate to be the bearer of bad tidings, but you're going to have a long, hard year in your seat next year.
I bet
lot of Blue Mondays for you.
I bet you 5 cases right now, they don't bring all 3 of them back. Right now, 5 cases. That's wishful thinking. Pro Football Focus can throw in all the scenarios they want. I got 5 cases. All 3 of these guys don't come back.
Done.
Gotcha.
5 cases.
5 cases.
Thanks to Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. I just won. What did he win for me? 10 cases?
Yeah, he got you.
Thank you.
He got you a couple.
Yeah, he got me a couple. I like my chances. Bruce Arians says to all these guys, your ass ain't going nowhere.
Bruce Arians,
okay.
That's tequila.
We'll see.
That's that avocado tequila that Tom was on. He had gave BA
Maybe. I don't think he needs avocado. He
had a real deal.
He just got the straight stuff. Okay, it starts with the first domino, and the first domino is Chris Godwin. He's really good. Just a year ago, Pro Football Focus ranked him #1 of any receiver in total grade for the year before Tom Brady got there, and then he had to share the sugar. But what a great year to have a receiver coming due because of the pandemic, the cap is plunging, and all of a sudden, all the tags are plunging accordingly to the cap plunging. Mm-hmm. So you can get a receiver on a first tag for, as you say, $15.8 million.
Right.
My team, the Dallas Cowboys, had to give Amari $21 million a year ago because he was free.
Correct.
Okay. So 15.8 for Chris Godwin would be a steal of a deal. But it's right there in the palm of your hand if you want to use it.
Right.
Would it make him unhappy? Maybe, to a certain degree. But if they're on their way to winning a back-to-back Super Bowl, that would help mitigate some of the anger. It would help soothe it over a little bit.
Skip, that guy's played 4 years. He's won a Super Bowl. He wants his opportunity. His opportunity.
Okay, but the team has the right to do this, and then it would be up to Tom Brady to try to keep him, make him happier than he would be when they tag him.
Right.
Okay, now to Levante David. I had lost sight of this, but you want to talk about a valuable piece to this puzzle? I knew he could cover, but not until the Super Bowl, not until Travis Kelce did it hit me like 10 tons of bricks. He can mirror Kelce. He took him man most of the game, and I'm not going to say he took him out of the game, but he sure did.
A hell of a job.
Did he nullify him? Didn't he at least contain him?
Yes.
He made it hard for Patrick Mahomes to find Travis Kelce his ultimate security blanket.
And guess what else, Skip? 31 other teams saw that. So somebody's going to be willing to pay premium price for that.
Stats over the last 2 years. Levante David ranks first at his position in coverage grade. First in the whole NFL.
Yes.
And in what are called passing stops, where you have somebody solo and you stop the pass.
Yes.
You get your hand on it or it's incomplete, whatever.
Yep.
He has 57 of those stops over the last 2 years. That's 14 more than any other linebacker.
Right.
Okay, so value. But they're saying, hey, they're going to pay him pretty good value here. He's 31, so he can't get the kind of payday Shaq is looking for.
Right.
But now we get to cap space. I see it all over the map. I've seen that they have the 4th most cap space. I've seen it down to 12. But still, let's just do 12.
Yeah.
28-ish million, somewhere between 28 and 30 million, is still pretty good for the team that just won the championship, right?
Because you look at some of the other teams that skipped that weren't close to the Super Bowl, and they like 50, 60 million over the cap.
They're done. They're dead in the water.
New Orleans.
That is correct. Okay, so you have some money to play with. You just have to spend wisely.
Then you just signed, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Skip, they signed Ryan Suckup. They gave him a 5-year extension. So he probably caught $2-3 million this year against the cap.
Whatever. He was really good this year. I got to say, quietly really good.
He was Mr. Irrelevant at one point in time.
He was Mr. Irrelevant, but he was Mr. Irrelevant this year because he did not miss a big kick. So he never came up on this show because there was no reason to say, what have you done to me, Ryan Suckup?
Right.
They come and go year to year. So now we get to the big ticket item, Shaq Barrett. Well, they're projecting that he would stay for 4 years, $68 million. That might be a little shy, just a little shy, because that's only, by my math, that's just $17 million a year.
No chance.
I just don't know if you can do that.
No, sir.
Because DeMarcus Lawrence is at 20.
Right.
Okay. So you got to go in there somewhere.
And that's the thing, Skip. The thing is, when you watch Shaq just doesn't rush the passer. Shaq plays the run. He sets the edge extremely well.
In fact, their ranking of him as a pure pass rusher is not great. He's like 12th in the league. He's pure off the edge. And remember, we're thinking of Green Bay and Kansas City.
Right.
But I watched every snap of every game, and there were some games where He kind of came and went. You didn't notice it.
Well, you will skip. You pay a guy that comes that has 19.5 sacks a year before. You pay him a little extra attention.
Okay. Just remember, you have the ultimate free agent magnet in Tom Brady. And he is advertising now on Twitter to me. It's message sent to potential free agents. Come down, join us in Tampa, sunshine, surf, Super Bowls, and no state income tax, right?
Yeah.
Well, the no state income tax is pretty great, right?
That 6-7% adds up.
Okay, so they know that there's a bonus on top of this. Shaq knows it, and Levante knows that there's a bonus because they're not going to take a big, hey, we live here in Los Angeles. They're going to take a big old chunk of it. Am I right?
Yeah, they take a bite out of it.
A big old chunk. And I lived in New York for quite a while, and they take an even bigger chunk out of it.
Yeah. I feel like, Skip, you remember that commercial, McGruff, the crime dog?
Yep.
Help take a bite out of crime?
That is correct. They take a bite out of your...
They take a bite out of my back pocket with these taxes.
Yeah, it feels like it's a bite out of your butt is what it feels like.
It is.
Okay? So, again, this is huge drawing power with Brady as the centerpiece of saying, hey, come have fun, because Arians is fun to play for. I think they all had a pretty good time this year.
Well, Skip, hold on. Now, if you can get Shaq, say someone's out there that's offering Shaq 21-22, and you can get the 19, he's like, okay, I'll stay. Because that state income tax, I'm going to get that back. I'm going to get that $2 million back. That's my case. Okay, so... That's my case says, because it could be 5 cases, right? Okay, so now you've got Gronk and you got AB and you got Fournette as valuable pieces to this puzzle because... Gronk ain't going nowhere. Gronk has made it abundantly clear, Skip. He only wants to play in the NFL if he can play with Tommy.
Okay.
AB is limited in where he can go, considering his history.
Okay, I just named 3 players who scored touchdowns in the Super Bowl. And 1 year ago today, where were they?
None was on the team.
Gronk was WWE, right?
Yeah.
And AB was just in a lot of trouble, and we weren't even sure he'd ever play again.
Right.
And Fournette had been cut by Jacksonville, and we weren't sure about his status going forward, how valuable he was.
Right.
And in fact, Arians said the other day that there was a moment when they were going to have to cut him in Tampa because there was he was a healthy scratch at one point because he was getting a little unhappy with it. And Arians told him, my way, highway. Which one is it? Because you can help us if you'll just be patient.
Right.
And voila.
The thing that you love about a coach. I mean, look, you're not finna grumble and stay.
No.
You can grumble and leave. Now, this is what we had. We had a starting running back when you arrived here. He's still the starting running back because he's done nothing. You've shown me nothing come game time or practice, Skip, that would warrant you playing in front of Rojo. So bide your time. Your opportunity would come. Rojo, he had a fumble. That Giants game, Skip, that him, and then he got an injury. So Fournette took advantage of his opportunity. But he'd like to. But see, when he was in Jacksonville, they tried to, he's like, he have a problem and it would just fester. But see, when you're in a situation like what you're in, he probably looked around like, man, we really do got a chance to win here. We go into the playoffs at the bare minimum, and we got that guy. We might win a Super Bowl. Let me keep my mouth shut and go ahead and
I got it.
Take advantage of this.
So I believe in my Bible, Pro Football Focus, and I'm betting 5 cases on my Bible, quote unquote, in the National Football League, that they'll be right about all 3 staying. But there was also the report, I don't know if it was a report, it's sort of speculation from, I believe, Mike Tannenbaum, the former, as you know, Jets GM on ESPN, was talking about J.J. Watt's going to be in this mix if Shaq Barrett is not in this mix. I don't know if you can really replace Shaq off the edge with J.J., who's not an edge rusher.
They're two different players.
Completely different players. But that's the kind of move you could make if Shaq goes. If he breaks somebody's bank somewhere, then Brady's power would be, hey, want to come play here?
Skip, you know what? A player that we're not talking about that's going to have a bearing, it's going to be very interesting to see if the Broncos pick up that $17.5 million option on Von Miller. Now, Von Miller missed last year with that foot injury.
He did. What's he got left?
He got a lot left.
Okay.
He has a lot left. Now, somebody get him. Now, he messing around and go down to Tampa Bay. I don't even want to talk football.
You're going to take the rest of the
I ain't talking football with you. If Von goes to Tampa, I ain't talking football.
Okay.
No? You're not going to do it?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
I'll fill in for you. We'll have to see how that goes. I can't wait to see what Tom does. He said yesterday he's back to work, guys. That pliability in action. We have to talk about a different GOAT right now. The Lakers survived their first test without Anthony Davis last night when they beat the Timberwolves 112-104 in Minnesota. This one was hard for me to watch. Well, Dennis Schroeder had 24 points and Montrezl Harrell added 17 off the bench, but LeBron led the way with 30 points as the King looks to make an MVP statement with 80 out for at least the next 2 to 3 weeks right now. So, Shannon, how impressive was your guy, LeBron?
He's very impressive, and this is what it's going to take. It's going to take him, putting up these big numbers, 30 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists. It's going to take him playing. He's going to have to play 38 minutes. He's going to have to play 39 minutes.
He played 38 more minutes.
And that's the thing, Skip, because there's no AD, and you see what happened, Skip. They thought that they had solved a lot of this problem by getting Schroeder, a guy that can run the offense when LeBron goes to the bench.
Yep.
But what we see, Skip, is that when LeBron goes to the bench, we kind of fall back into that same thing. The thing that concerned me, even when LeBron is on the court, Skip, and I've seen this over the last 2 weeks, they have these long droughts. Mm-hmm. They'll go between 3 and 6 minutes, and the ball doesn't go in the basket. You're setting yourself up. You're making it very, very difficult. And then you combine that with the slow starts. Now, they didn't start slow last night, but we've seen them over the last 3 or 4 games, Skip, start really, really slow.
Yep.
Well, you start really, really slow. You go between 3 and 6 minutes without putting the ball in the basket. You make it very, very hard. And so, with that being said, this is what it's going to take for LeBron. LeBron's going to have to play, Skip, 38, 39 minutes, probably on a nightly basis. AD's not coming back till after the All-Star game. And then, to be on the safe side, they might leave him out another week just to make sure that this thing doesn't linger. And I'd rather him miss regular season games as opposed to have this thing flare up in the playoffs. Because, look, as great as LeBron is, I don't believe at this juncture with this team, he can take this team to a championship. The West is too good. The Nets are too good. Philly is too good. He can't do that. So we need a healthy Anthony Davis, but he was unbelievable. I mean, 13 rebounds, all on the defensive end.
That was good.
He's got to take up the slack that AD would normally get, those rebounding, even though AD's rebounding is down. He needs to take up that slack. He played unbelievable last night, and that's what we need. The turnovers, though, Skip, they got to stop turning this ball over, Skip. I mean, they had 11 turnovers in the first quarter. Come on.
He had 5 more. 4 in the first half. No good.
No good.
Got to be better.
Got to be better.
Okay, so our premise yesterday on this show was, LeBron, you're on. You could be on the hot seat, but you have a golden opportunity to seize the MVP, I'm not going to say run away with it, but make a case that might not be able to be unmade the rest of the way, because you got 9 games at least without Anthony Davis into the All-Star break. This was the first test, but this was by far the easiest of the 9 tests.
Correct.
This is, to me, the worst team in basketball, albeit in Minnesota, up in the frozen tundra up there. It was cold in Minnesota last night. Very cold. Although not as cold as Oklahoma City or Dallas. I don't know.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on in the Midwest, Skip.
Yeah, I don't either. Okay, but the point is, there's no D'Angelo Russell anymore. So he's going to have surgery, so you don't even have him.
Right.
So it's the worst team in basketball to me, and by far the worst team in the West, because they are 4 games worse than the next worst team in the West. So keep it in some perspective. You better win that game. And thanks in large part to LeBron, and especially to what you say, the 13 rebounds, they won.
Yeah.
Okay, 13 rebounds. He should average at least 10 a night. He's 6'9", 260, but you say it takes too much out of him to bang on the boards. He can bang.
Yeah.
As he says, I don't get tired. I don't think he gets, I'm knocking on wood for him, I don't think he gets hurt. We saw one little groin pull 2 years ago. But the point is, he's physical enough that he was man among boys last night to me, because Minnesota has nobody who can keep him from the rim. So where did he score the bulk of his points? He just took it to the hole, man, and they could not keep him away from the basket.
Layup, baby hooks.
Yeah, you got it. He did make one nice baby hook. Okay, so now let's step back and look at what happened. He did go only 1 of 4 from 3. He's got to do better than that, because now in February alone, that's 8 games in February, he's 14 out of 50. That's 28%. That won't cut it. Now the games are starting to get lots harder.
I like the fact, Skip, that he didn't have it going from the 3, but
he did not.
Sometimes, Skip, he doesn't have it, and he keeps like, well, I'm going to shoot it. It's going to go in the next one to go in.
Okay. All right. My other issue with LeBron that just drives me crazy, Jordan's powder toss once upon a time when he first started in the league. And now it's like he's sort of adopted his nickname, his airness, except with LeBron, it's his air ballness, right?
Man, go ahead.
His air ballness, because
man, don't do that. Don't do it.
I don't understand.
You do.
He shoots more air balls than anybody I've ever seen. He shot 2.
What?
Can we see him?
No.
Can we see him? There was one to open the game. It's his first shot of the game, and I'm saying, LeBron, what are you doing? Little turnaround jumper, and it hit nothing but air. It hit nothing but air. His airness. And then here's the logo 3. He still had a couple seconds left, and he said, I got to pull up from the logo just because I am the king.
I want that one to go so bad.
And it hit nothing but net, except it
One more step, bro. You need one more step.
One more. You could have stepped to the line. Just go ahead and step the line and make it. I wouldn't be surprised if you made one from the line.
Yeah.
But he tried to shoot it from the logo, and it hit nothing but net. Unfortunately, it did not go through the hoop before it hit the net, right? It just hit the net. So I'm saying, LeBron, what exactly are you doing? So now we get to the flashpoint turning point of this game. Obviously, I'm rooting against you because we have a bet on how many games he's going to win at 9. I thought, wow, if he blows this one, I got a real shot to win, because you said 6-3 in the 9 games, right? So I could have been off to the races with the lowly T-Wolves winning this.
It would have been looking good.
Okay, so would you believe that a guy named Vanderbilt did me in? And, of course, I went to Vanderbilt. A guy named Vanderbilt. If we could see what happened, this is with 2:20 left in the game. They have a chance to cut it to 1 possession. And a guy named Jared Vanderbilt, there's nobody left. And he misses a bunny putback.
Yeah, he missed 2 of those.
Yeah, and they come right back down, and LeBron gives it to Kuzma, and Kuzma says, well, I'll just waltz in here. I'll just waltz in, and that broke the game. It just went crazy after that. Okay, so here we go again. Little bunny. There is nobody left. LeBron's not even going to contest it because he should have just dunked it. Jared Vanderbilt. Yeah. You got to live up to your name, my son, right? What exactly are you doing?
He missed another one later in the game. The same thing. He missed a putback.
I got it by then. It was completely out of. Here's where LeBron drives me crazy. But again, he's given up on chasing Jordan, so now he's chasing Kareem. And I don't have any problem with that because he has a shot to score more points than anybody who's ever played this game. So what does he do? I just worry about his stamina down the stretch. He played to the final horn in this game. And with 51.7 seconds left, he's shooting a jump shot to put them up 12. I think we have that. Yeah. Here we are. They're up 10 right now with 50 seconds left, and he made it. Okay, that put him up 12. Well, you're just stat padding now, and now we're coming down to 20 seconds left, and he does it again. I'm going to shoot a fadeaway and try to make another one, and he had it on line. Yeah. It's just a touch long. So the point is, why wouldn't Frank Vogel, I just don't think Vogel could. You just got to go sit for a while. You just let the game got out of control at the 2-minute mark.
No, he didn't. We just got to make Skip. You saw Anthony Edwards come down and hit 3 straight threes. Bang, bang, bang.
Before the 2-minute
mark. Bang, bang. No. So who's to say he doesn't get hot like that again? And so we got to make sure we're the cooler. We got to cool that off.
Okay. Well, you kept cooling, and you just kept shooting, and you kept gunning, and you kept stat padding, and it's just the way.
And we're going to stat pad tomorrow, too.
Okay.
And we're going to win tomorrow.
Are you sure you're not going to pay for this in May or June?
I want 2 cases for tomorrow.
Huh?
I want 2 cases.
Well, who's going to play?
I don't care. I want 2 cases.
Well, who's going to play?
I'm going blind. 2 cases right now.
Well, I got to hear who's going to play.
It don't matter.
Did you see James Harden last night?
Yeah, I saw James Harden.
Lord have mercy. Did you see what he did?
He was unbelievable.
That was unbelievable.
But that's what I'm saying.
But it could be just James versus LeBron.
Oh, exactly.
Okay, but it's at Staples.
It ain't nobody in Staples.
Okay, the rest of the Lakers are better than the rest of the Nets if it's only James.
I don't know about all that.
Yeah, I do know about all that.
Consistent. Now, look, Skip. This was the best Marc Gasol played all year.
He came to play. He actually made a big 3.
He made 3 of them. Schroeder played well.
Yeah.
Keith came in and hit some big shots for us.
Yep.
Trez, look, I don't worry about Trez. Whether Trez scores 5 points, 10 points, I know Trez going to give me everything he has. So I don't worry about Trez. But I need, all right, Coos, I can't really do nothing with 7, Coos.
Okay, what you need starting Thursday night is LeBron's got to clean up the turnovers.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
Because he's second. He's creeping up on Luka, who's first in turnovers, but LeBron is second. He's only 6 back. And, by the way, LeBron has now played the 4th most minutes in all the NBA. 38.
Got no choice now.
Okay, here we go.
With AD going out, I mean, you could at least stagger it.
Yeah.
But now there ain't no staggering, Skip. Normally he plays like 7 minutes in the first quarter. That's going to probably bump up to 8, 8.5. He's normally somewhere around 16, 17 for the first half. That's going to be somewhere around 18, 19. And then so he's going to be somewhere between 36 and 38 minutes on a nightly basis.
I suspect that Kyrie load managed last night getting ready for Thursday night, but I do not know that for a fact because he said his back tightened up after he scored 40 at Sacramento.
Yeah, he brought back probably here on all them jumpers.
Yeah, I know. That's a lot of jumpers.
But that's okay. You know my man, they'll never back down from a challenge.
Okay.
You know old GOAT.
Okay, what if you hear that KD, Kyrie, and James are all going to play against the GOAT, quote unquote?
It don't matter. I still want to.
You still want two on that? Okay, I'll take it
right now.
Conditionally. If all three play, I'll take two games.
We bet right now, no matter who plays.
No, I don't want to do that.
Why
It
not?
could just be James against LeBron at Staples, and that's not a fair fight.
What you mean it's not a fair fight?
Well, it's just
That's the
not.
beard. The man just dropped 38 last night like it was nothing.
Well, he would think it's a fair fight, James. I feel like he would feel
Unfortunately,
confident
Phoenix
in the
dropped the
battle.
ball. That's what happened.
No mercy.
When asked about playing the Nets at Big Three for the first time on Thursday, LeBron James pumped the brakes on calling it an unprecedented collection of talent, reminding reporters, quote, "Have we forgotten about KD, Steph, and Clay already?" I mean, there you go. There you go. Right there. LeBron, of course, that he referenced there. So, Shannon, do you agree with LeBron here?
Yeah, Skip, they're different.
Fair.
They're different. I think the difference is that Kyrie is a better shot maker, and he's different than Clay. He's the common denominator because he's on both squads.
Okay, so we eliminate KD.
We did eliminate
All right.
KD. Steph, we see what Steph's doing. Now, James Harden, let's just say James Harden and Steph push. The difference is, I think, is Kyrie and his ability to make shots. Is he as good a three-point shooter as Clay? No. But can he do things that Clay can't do? Absolutely, Skip. He's phenomenal. I mean, you won't find a better guy that can put the ball on the floor and finish at the rim with either hands better than Kyrie. Big or small, he's spectacular. But I give a nod. This is where I'm going to give the nod to Golden State. Draymond. Because he's the difference maker. Draymond is better at doing what he does than any other big, Skip, because he can run the offense. Draymond, Skip, you remember when Draymond used to get triple-doubles like it was nothing? He's one of the few guys that had a triple-double, Skip. It got steals, no points. He got it with steals.
Okay.
But with that being said, the firepower, this team now in Brooklyn averages 5 more points with their big three than the big three averaged in Golden State. And all that said, at the end of the day, Skip, you're going to have to win a title to pay it off. In order for this thing to be as great as you believe it is, you're going to have to, because the Golden State, what they were able to do, back-to-back. If they went to 3 straight, KD got injured, I believe they'd won 3 they'd have won 3. When they went to 5 straight, I believe they would have won 3 straight had KD and Clay not gotten hurt.
Okay.
So this Brooklyn Nets team is going to have to pay this off, Skip. But if you make me say, well, Shannon, you got to pick one, I'm taking the Brooklyn Nets. I ain't never seen anything like this here.
Oh, so you are. So in the end, you're saying, whoa, I'm going this direction.
Because, like I said, if Steph and KD is a push because he was at both squads. If I say Steph Curry and James Harden, now I believe James is a better facilitator of an offense than Steph, but you won't say scoring and things of that nature. We'll push it.
Okay.
Kyrie is a difference maker. I'm taking Kyrie over Clay.
Your man, LeBron, is not going to love you saying that.
I mean, he got his reason for saying what he said, but I'm just saying, just looking at it.
Maverick and Rich and Randy are really not going to love you saying that.
Skip, you do realize that Kyrie's averaging 29 points a game.
I do, and I get it. And I also understand LeBron is trying to protect his legacy. Look what I was up against.
Yeah.
Well,
you better be up against it again.
You could be up against it again, and it could be in this year's finals. It could play out that way. Okay, so I declared the day they landed James Harden, this is the greatest 3-man collection of offensive firepower in the history of this game.
Right.
I'm not going to say it's not even close, but if you do, I had not thought I was going 3 versus 3. If you throw in Draymond, it's not a fair fight anymore. But I do think the KD Nets 3 is better, a little better than the KD Warriors 3.
Yes.
Then we start going into Joe Harris. He was a three-point shootout winner, right? So he can really shoot it, so that's a piece. Jeff Green has been a really nice piece. Are they Draymond? Is DeAndre Jordan better than Bogut or what? You know, now you start going in. Okay, yeah, Festus Azim, Vanderbilt University. Way to go. Thank you very much for bringing him up. Okay, now I'm going to start with James versus Steph.
Right.
Here's all you need to know. 40-point games career.
Right.
James has 99. Steph has 39.
Right.
So James is a better all-around scorer than Steph. He's obviously not a better three-point shooter because nobody's a better three-point shooter. Okay? But James can shoot threes.
Right.
James can really make his free throws. Not quite Steph, but he's in the ballpark.
Right.
Okay? Then we go to point guard. Well, James is just a better point guard than Steph is. Because just look at the assists right now. You know, my God, James has led the league twice in assists. He's at 11.3 this year right now, but 12 since he joined the Nets.
Right.
Well, Steph isn't that good. You know, the most Steph's career high in assists is 9.
Right.
Okay, so he's not.
Which is good. That's a good number.
It's very good, but he's not the distributor. James has often, he's got creative genius as a point guard.
Also, I think the thing is, Skip, is that you look at Steph. Steph has always had Clay, so he's always had someone to share with and get the ball with.
Okay.
But James Harden took it upon himself. So you're seeing what Steph is doing right now when he doesn't have to worry about anybody else getting an X amount of shots.
Yep.
You see him averaging 30-plus points a game and doing what he's doing. So he's capable of doing it.
Okay, so James Harden, career, 51 triple-doubles. Steph, career, 7 triple-doubles because he's not going to be able to rebound. To get 10 is hard, man.
Yeah.
And James is getting 13 and 14 because, again, he's got offensive genius about him. He's one of those, like, we're seeing it from LaMelo Ball already because he is an extraordinary rebounder, but he's below the rim.
Right.
Because it's all instinct. It's all savvy. It's all... I'm anticipating where this ball's going to come off the carom, right?
Yeah.
James can do that too. And he's 6'5", and he plays bigger than 6'5", right?
Yes.
So 51-7 in triple doubles. Well, that means I'm going to take James over Steph. As much as I love Steph, and as much as Steph on any given night can just absolutely detonate a whole game. He can just take it over and make 10 threes, and you lose, right? But on a nightly basis, I'm going to take James.
Yeah, but you saw last night what James Harden's capable of doing.
Because he did it by himself.
They down 21 and a half.
Yeah.
And everybody, and I'm sure I was there like, oh man, they just go, just getting ready to go see the Lakers on Thursday.
I turned it off. I went to bed. I said it's over.
Skip, I'm thinking to myself, I said, now Phoenix, you guys are playing in their hands. Y'all coming out here jacking up these shots and not running no offense and not playing defense. And the next thing you know, you let Joe Harris hit a 3. And then Tyler Johnson come in and hit a 3. And then Shannon hit a 3. And then James Harden slithers ways to the basket and get up a couple layups. He throw a couple of lobs. The next thing you know, 21 is down to 13. They push it back to 17. It's down to 9. They push it back to 12. And the next thing you know, Skip, with 2.5 minutes left, it's 5-point ball game. And I'm like, uh-oh, y'all in trouble.
Okay, with 2:46 left last night at Phoenix against a team that had won 6 in a row, the Nets were down 8. Down 8 with 2:46 left. And you're without KD and Kyrie, and all of a sudden, from 2:46 to the finish, guess how many points the home team scored? 0. And Jay Crowder missed a couple of shots. Then we go right down the list. Devin Booker missed one. Chris Paul missed one late. They can't allow that to happen. They should have closed the deal.
They gave up 40 in the 4. Skip, I disagree. Booker shouldn't have took the last shot. Chris Paul should. Chris Paul had it going.
Well, he made the one at 2:46 that put them up 8, but then that was the end of that.
And then Skip, that's not Booker's game is not that. If you look at the shots that Booker's hit, he's faced them up. You look at what he did in the bubble last year against the Clippers. You look at the one he hit the other night against the Lakers. That's not his game. Is in the I know he worked with Kobe and everything, but bruh, do you face him up?
Okay, got it.
Try to go by him, and if you can't go by him, raise up over the top. But bumping him and then pulling up over the top, that's really not his game.
Okay, and I know James Harden hadn't shown us a lot at the highest level in playoff basketball. But last night, when the pressure was all on his shoulders, he took that whole game over against a...
Points, 3 assists, a rebound, and no turnovers. They had 1 turnover the entire night. They got 40.
Greatest perimeter scorer I've ever seen is James Harden.
Skip, they got 74 points in the second half.
I got it. Okay, let's go quickly. Kyrie versus Clay. Kyrie, to your point, is just a better all-around scorer than Klay Thompson. So 30-point games career. Kyrie has 100.
Yeah.
Klay has 57. Yeah. So you can just see Kyrie is more capable of just going off.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Is Kyrie a little better point guard? Well, yeah, he doesn't really play point guard, but he's 6 assists for his career. Klay's averaged 2 assists.
But see, Skip, this is why you get an opportunity to see Kyrie at his absolute best.
Yep.
Because he's a true 2.
Okay.
And you're not asking him to make plays for everybody else. You let him do his thing.
Agreed.
And so now you're seeing he's doing his thing without the responsibility, and James Harden is running the show. That's what Kyrie Irving is. That's Kyrie at his absolute best.
Okay, I think LeBron was mostly talking about offensive firepower, but if we want to throw in Klay's ability to defend anybody, then it's over. Like, not even close with him and Kyrie.
That's the thing where people go, because you talk about the big 3. They were a top defensive rated team with KD there. They was top defensive before KD got there, and then KD with that big wingspan that's protecting the back end, and Draymond was a very good defender. Draymond was Defensive Player of the Year. That lets you know how good he was at his job.
I agree.
So, yeah, Skip, but offensively, if we just purely talking offensively, we've never seen 3 guys that can all handle the ball like they can. If they really wanted to, they really could average 30. Each guy could average 30.
Okay. LeBron James, Shannon Sharp just said the KD Nets are better.
Yeah, but at the
Game over.
Skip, but you know, at the end of the day, we know the 2007 Patriots were better than any other Patriots team, but they didn't pay it off.
Okay.
You got to pay it off, Skip.
Yeah, you do have to pay it off.
Well, Brady paid it off, but Belichick didn't.
There you go.
Well, it's true. It's true. Brady paid it off. He did what he always does.
When Skip
Scored 14 points.
It should have been 14-10 final.
He finished it.
No mercy.
As Skip made very clear at the top of the show, today is Michael Jordan's 58th birthday, but LeBron is stealing the show with an old tweet of his that's going viral. 9 years ago today, LeBron got on Twitter and wrote, "Happy B-Day to the person I idolized and wanted to be just like as a kid playing the game of basketball. Michael Jordan, hashtag the GOAT."
What?
Yes, he tweeted that. Shannon, do you think LeBron regrets tweeting this?
No. I mean, everybody knows the impact that Michael Jordan has had on LeBron, the impact that Michael has had on everybody, because guys want signature shoes. Guys want to be the brand that Michael Jordan became. And so he's had a lot of positive impact on a lot of the players that's currently playing in the NBA. But 9 years ago, let me tell you what LeBron has done since that time, since that tweet. 4 titles, 4 finals MVP, gone to 8 finals, 2 regular season MVPs. Man. So, yeah. Why would he regret that? Think about that. That's 9 years since that tweet. Now, you do realize LeBron James has been in the league 9 years before that tweet. So what had he done? Stop playing with me, Skip Bayless. LeBron James averages 7.5 assists per game. Michael Jordan averaged for a career 5.3. So that's 2 assists per game. Time plus 82 games over 18 years. So if I'm not mistaken, 2 assists, you can either get a 3 or 2. So that's somewhere between 4 and 6 points a game. So on a nightly basis, LeBron James is, doing his thing, huh, Skip? Why would LeBron regret that? Because at the time, he probably felt that. But lo and behold, how things change. Skip, things change. The way you look at you see climate change, you see everything changes. Skip, Bayless, give you a prime example. I'm a watch guy. I like watch. I don't know if you like into watches like I am. But the Patek 5711, it's a Knotless, Skip. In December, the watch retail for $54,000, $54K. Go try to find that watch for less than $110,000 right now. 2 months. Change.
Because you bought one?
I ain't asking you all that, Skip. I'm just trying to give you the things change.
Oh.
This changed. He still, at that time, he thought, Skip, I can assure you, in 2009, people probably thought somebody else was the GOAT in football or somebody. Did anybody think Tom Brady was the GOAT in football in 2009? Okay, then. Things change, right? Things have changed, Skip. Things have changed. There's a new GOAT in town.
Really?
And he gonna be munching in the pasture for the next 3 years.
Shannon Sharp. Your man, what was it, 9 years ago today? Conceded GOAT. He conceded publicly because he knew what I knew, what everybody knew, it was over.
The man was 27.
He conceded. and he knows in his heart of hearts it was over and done.
No, he doesn't.
He could not scrub away what had happened. Because speaking of watches, I like to just watch games. That's all I do. I don't care about what wristwatch.
That old Seiko.
That probably what it is. It's my lucky timepiece here. Be careful.
I remember when it broke it right here on there. You was banging the tape.
It flew across the floor. But it has won me hundreds of thousands of debates on this show. The point is,
you need to hide it tomorrow.
I don't care about watches. I care about watching the games. And I happened to watch the NBA Finals in 2011. That was actually LeBron's second finals. He had been swept by the Spurs, but I'm going to give him a pass on that one because it was 3 Hall of Famers, and he was up against it with his Cleveland roster. I will give you that one. Jordan got swept by the Boston Celtics of Larry Bird.
Twice.
Larry Bird, and a big 3 that was one of the all-time great big 3s, but that big one, he was something. And all Michael did in game 1 that year, coming off a broken leg, was score 63. And Larry Bird said after game 1 at Boston Garden, I think that was God disguised as Michael Jordan. Nobody ever said that about LeBron that I can remember. So then I did watch in 2011, LeBron go up 2-1 in Dallas. I was also told that he went back to his hotel room up 2-1, having joined the Heatles, as they called them, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Pat Riley. And he made a list of I told you so's. I'm going to tell him off and him off and him off. I was told I was at the top of that list, but I don't know that for a fact.
You weren't on the list.
That's what I saw. So I'm up 2-1. And in games 4, 5, and 6, LeBron suffered the worst superstar meltdown in the history of sports. I had never seen anything like it. I didn't see it coming. I didn't expect it. The chosen one became the frozen one in 3 straight games. He averaged a grand total of 15 points in those 3 games. He averages 29 for his playoff career, so he's almost half under his average.
Right.
Really? He averaged 5 turnovers a game for 3 straight games. That won't work. He was a 44% shooter from the field. He's a 50% shooter for his career and in the playoffs. He was 2 of 12 from 3 in those 3 games, and he was 4 of 10 from the free throw line. That was a meltdown, and they melted down, and they lost in 6 games to the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah. I've never, ever shied away from saying LeBron, that was his worst moment of his NBA career. But to say because of that moment, he can't rise above that.
Okay.
And you see what he's done since.
Okay, but you can't wipe it away. You can't scrub it from his internet record.
But Skip,
it's there. It's glaring. Michael Jordan never had a flame out like this because he didn't have any flame outs. He lost some playoff series, but it was in spite of him, in spite of his greatness.
No. That's not what we do here. Either you lose or you win. It doesn't matter if you score 60 points if you catch the L. It doesn't matter if you score 3 and you catch the L. His team lost. LeBron team lost to the Mavs. The Mavs were, but see, people don't realize the Mavs also swept the Lakers, who was the 2-time defending champ. They also beat the brakes off of OKC that year with KD, Harden, and Russ. So it wasn't like there were slouches. You making it seem like they were the 8th seed and they had no business being there. When you go back and look at what they had done, you understand they deserved to be there.
The Heatles were favored to win the finals.
Skip, that's just for Vegas. The favorite don't mean anything. You know that. He
knew it was over. He knew he had done something that Jordan had never done, and he conceded publicly. I got swept, and then I cratered.
So over the last 9 years, so what are we going to do? 8 of the 9 years he's in the finals. He's won 4 titles. He won 4 finals MVPs. He's won 2 more regular season MVP. So we going to just disregard that.
4 and 6 in the finals.
Let me ask you a question.
Versus 6 and 0.
How many guys that played the history of the game can have this type of resume in the last 9 years? 4 finals MVPs, 4 titles, and 2 MVPs. Name the player that has this on his resume. I want you to Magic, Bird, Kareem, Shaq, Kobe. Name the guys that has LeBron James' last 9 years on his resume for a career.
Does that mean we're just going to wipe away the first two finals?
No.
Are we going to forget them? Are you making them disappear?
No. I'm just asking.
And by the way, what he finally broke through is he said it's about damn time against the Baby Thunder. And then what happened?
Oh, the Baby Thunder.
Baby Thunder. 2013, what happened? He was in danger, mortal danger, of falling to 1-3 in the finals when Ray Allen saved him and took him off the hook.
Nothing. We saved him.
LeBron James in the last 3 minutes had 3 unforced error turnovers. In the last 1 minute, he had 2 unforced error turnovers. My team is up 5 with 23 seconds left. He's in trouble.
Okay.
He took a shot to try to tie it and LeBricked it so hard off the back iron that Bosch saved it, kicked it to Ray Allen in the corner, and he made it. He backed up and made it, got his toes behind the line. It was the greatest clutch shot I've ever seen, and it forced overtime, and they took over.
But Skip, you make it seem like, so we're just going to disregard the 16 that he had in the
If Ray Allen doesn't hit that shot, you are 1-3 in the finals, and the GOAT case has gone completely out every window in Miami.
You do realize if LeBron James scores 12, that shot doesn't matter. He had to get 16. He had to do what he had to do.
He had a nice stretch up to the last 3 minutes, and then he was...
And then what happened in overtime? Then what happened in overtime?
He took over.
But I just want you to tell me...
got shot right
in the last 9 years, tell me a guy in NBA history that has LeBron's resume just the last 9 years.
Okay, does that make him the GOAT? No. That makes him a really good player.
No, it's really good, my butt.
He's in the Hall of Pretty Good. The Hall of Pretty Good.
So in other words, if you take LeBron James' first 9 years, he's a Hall of Famer. You take his last 9 years, he GOAT. Combine it together, it's unquestioned.
GOAT.
He the GOAT.
Happy birthday, GOAT. 58.
Now, I've been told LeBron happy birthday a couple of months ago, December 30th.
Did you?
Yeah.
I was telling Tiger happy birthday.
No Tiger no wood, no happy birthday.
Oh, this argument will always,
we don't tell Tiger happy birthday.
Always be interesting.
No mercy.
LeBron gave a huge endorsement of Draymond Green's rant about the double standard players face when they want to trade versus when a team wants to trade them. The King posted the clip on social media with the caption, "Facts," and then went on to further back Draymond's point when asked about it after the Lakers win over Minnesota. Take a listen.
It's the narrative of what the league has always been. And, you know, from a team's perspective, they've controlled the narrative. They've controlled the narrative of how players should be, how they should act, how they should, treat their organizations. We just want people to understand that it's two sides of the coin. It's not just one-sided.
We're now joined by Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard. So, Chris, when you listen to what LeBron said there, do you like it?
It was a lot to unpack. I get where he's coming from. In that, you know, he said, because fans tend to side with the owners or with the teams over players. We see this all the time in a lockout, right? Or a strike. The fans, you know, side with the billionaire owners over the millionaire players. Now, there could be many reasons, maybe because they know the players, you know, they see the players all the time. They don't tend to know and see the owners. The players' salaries are, you know, thrown all in their faces. They're advertised all over the place, whereas the owners aren't. Maybe that's a factor. And I think in a society like this that's historically racist, race in a league that's 75% African-American may be a factor as well. So I get where LeBron's coming from. Then he said the teams control the narrative. Now, he's been a victim of that. If you guys remember, when he left Cleveland to go to Miami, the Cavaliers, I'm not even talking about Dan Gilbert's letter, which we all know was terrible. But I'm talking about, you saw stories coming out about any negative thing that LeBron had done in the Cavs organization. You know, any bad attitude or moodiness or whatever. Even stuff in the Olympics. I mean, you saw columns written negatively about these things that LeBron had done all of a sudden coming out. That was obviously coming from the team. So I get his point on that. However, teams don't, especially nowadays, always control the narrative. All right, I have written stories in the past about player arguments with each other, player fights, things in the locker room, players having bad attitudes, players being a cancer, to use Draymond's word. And those stories often came from players on the team or from guys that were good friends with the players or agents. So it's not just the team controlling the narrative. Look, I think people in the media like us, whether you have, a TV show like this or national radio show, you control a lot of the narrative. So where I disagree with LeBron is this notion that teams, that the media is almost a puppet of teams. If that seemed to be what he was implying. And there are many ways that stories get out and narratives get controlled, including from the players themselves today with social media and things like that. So that's one thing. I was glad LeBron said, remember, he was asked if he totally agreed with Draymond. He said it, but then he was asked, well, what can we do to change it? Because Draymond was calling for change, it looked like. And LeBron said, well, it's not so much that players want change. We just want fans to recognize that there's two sides of the coin, which is true. Recognize that there's two sides to the story. There's the player side and the team side. But I was glad he said we're not looking for change because for the most part, players aren't mistreated.
No.
All right, yeah, there's
the
maybe some negatives here and there. There's negatives here and there to every job, all right? But Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin are still getting paid while they're not playing, all right? And that leads me to Draymond. Because Draymond used some good examples of players being mistreated. Harrison Barnes, right? Pulled from the bench because he was about to be traded. DeMarcus Cousins told during an interview after the All-Star game that he had been traded. That's not the right way to handle it. But here's the thing. Draymond criticized Cleveland for what they're doing with Andre Drummond and by inference, Detroit for Blake Griffin. But that seems to be what he wants. They're being upfront with Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin. They're not going to be blindsided when they're traded. They've sat down with both and said, look, we're going young. We're rebuilding. We want to help get you into a winning situation. We're going to trade you. And you can give them the choice. Do you want to get benched? You're still in uniform, but now you've been benched. You're not playing at all, or maybe you're playing 15 minutes a night, and your stats plummet, your reputation plummets, and people now look at you as a bench player, a role player, versus a star. Or we can do it this way, and you can just sit out until we trade you. So I think Draymond, in a lot of ways, was contradicting himself. Because these two teams today are being upfront with the players, and that's what he seemed like he wanted.
Skip, I just want to...
Again, it's a lot to unpack here.
I just want to say this, and I'm going to turn it over to Skip. So I just want to know, make sure I'm hearing you. So would you have been okay if Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin says, I'm going to sit out until you put me to a team that I can win? I'm not going to play until you trade me into a team.
No.
Would you have been okay with that?
No.
Why not?
No, because they work for the Detroit Pistons or the Cleveland Cavaliers.
But see,
this is Shannon. No employee has the same rights as the employer. LeBron and Draymond have companies. Certainly LeBron does.
Yes.
Do you think everyone that works for his company has the same rights as he does?
No, that's all I'm saying. If you would have been okay, you doing what the player says, I want to do what's in the best interest of me. The team says, I want to do what's in the best interest of the team, and just move forward. So I'm cool. I'm cool with it. Look, if that's the way you're going to handle it, when I want to get out, get me up out of here. No questions asked. But what we've seen, even though with the Supermax, Skip, what have we seen? Guys will forego that Supermax to get to where they want to be. Mm-hmm. Anthony Davis forego the Supermax. So did KD. A lot of guys will forego that Supermax, Chris, that says, I want to be in a winning organization. They put the Supermax in there to keep the players at small markets. They're like, man, forget that Supermax. I'm trying to get up out of here. I'm trying to win.
So, Chris Broussard.
So, Shannon, are you saying... I don't get where you're coming from. I don't think it would be all right for a player just to decide I'm not playing till you trade me.
Yeah, I want to get traded. I come to you, Chris. Chris, you my employer. I said, Chris, I want to get traded. I want to go to a winning organization. You like, I'm not going to be able to do that. I said, well, I'm going to say I'm going to sit down until you do. Because that's what you did.
No. Because that's my contract. I'm paying the contract.
So here's my issue, and I will be the first to admit, in the opening block of this show, I overheated about this issue. I get angry at Draymond's initial position on this, his premise that it's okay for an NBA star under contract to either quit or pout his way out of one situation into another if he's unhappy with said situation. Because a contract for me is a contract. And it angered me that LeBron just co-signed. Yeah. He validated, he endorsed everything that Draymond said. And again, I don't know. They're teammates on Uninterrupted. They're both Clutch clients. I don't know if he just felt like he's my teammate, he's my brother. I need to validate for him because I'm the face of the league. But it infuriates me that this concept is being signed off on by LeBron James, that it's okay to do this. And mostly we just let it come and go. And listen, NBA players have 10 times the power that NFL players have. The first one ever that's trying to pull this off is Deshaun Watson in Houston, and I don't know if he's going to be able to pull it off. Right. He's going to try to do what James did. Yeah. But now, when we come full circle back to a season, is he going to quit his way out of town? Is he going to say, I just won't play? Right. Or I'll play half-heartedly or whatever? Right. I don't get it because a contract is a contract. When LeBron left Cleveland the first time, he was a free agent. When KD went from Oklahoma City to Golden State, he was a free agent. Yes. You cannot criticize it. You can't condemn it. You can condemn the way LeBron left Cleveland the first time because he did so cold-bloodedly. He didn't give an ounce of gratitude back to the fans of Cleveland, and they were infuriated because through the decision, he was so angry with Dan Gilbert, that's what it all was, that he didn't even have the decency to call Dan Gilbert and say, hey, just FYI, I'm going to sign with Miami. Dan Gilbert was left twisting in the wind, and he was so furious. You know how he responded with a letter that was completely over the top and over the edge. We get that. But LeBron just didn't handle the PR right of it, but he had every right to go join forces with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. I had zero problem with that. But I've seen again and again, James Harden. I've seen Kawhi Leonard quit on my Spurs and pout his way out of town. I saw Kyrie just, what's that?
He was hurt.
He was hurt, blah, 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 quote unquote. And I forgive him, but I can't forget he did that. And he went and won a championship because of it. Yep. And I watched Anthony Davis pout his way out of the Pelicans because it's not like he quit on them, but his heart wasn't in it. And they said, we wasted a whole year. We should have just let him go the first time when Dell Demps was in charge, right? And he comes to L.A. and wins the championship. And James goes to the Nets, and they got a shot to win the championship because he quit his way out of Houston. Well, they're all ugly situations. Paul George just said, oh, Kawhi's going to the Clippers? Hey, Sam Presti, I want out. Okay. Let me see what I can get from the Clippers. I'll ship you out there. Yes. So these guys under contract have incredible power. If you have star, you got to be a star first. Yeah. But again, I'm with Chris. It's hard for me to work up a lot of pity for Andre Drummond. Maybe it's a Dan Gilbert situation. Maybe it's anti-Dan Gilbert. But I think they treated him the best they could treat him. He's out of their plans. They're going to ship him maybe to a contender where he will play far more minutes and have a chance to actually win his first ever playoff game. I just can't hold them accountable for that. I don't think there's any shame in that.
Well, we just disagree.
You know, when David Stern was commissioner, I mean, he you know, Skip, he ruled the NBA with an iron fist. And now Adam Silver, it talks a lot more partnerships. We're partners, this and that, which is good. I think there obviously should be mutual respect. But the players also have to understand you do work for the league and you do work for these teams. We get it. You're superstars and all that. And you get paid more than everybody but the owners. You know, so
okay. And Chris, one last point.
I just don't understand how everybody's they're gonna get everything the owners get.
Okay, Shannon and I went back and forth about this. The owners do have the right to trade you unless you have a no-trade clause, but they have the right, and they won that right through collective bargaining negotiation. If LeBron doesn't like it, he did say, well, I don't want change. I just want both sides of the coin to be made apparent to the fans. But you could go to war in the next collective bargaining negotiation for the right that you won't be traded, right?
Yeah, I mean, LeBron, that's not LeBron. I mean, LeBron is going to do what's in the best interest overall. Okay. Because in the best interest for LeBron James is to get fair market value. Okay. I mean, he getting $40 million. LeBron James probably should be making $100 million a year based on what his value. So he's going to do what's in the best interest of the collection of the NBA players.
Just remember, because they do have the right to trade you, and Chris Broussard is so good at his job, and Woj and Shams are so good at theirs, sometimes these things leak out, and the teams are on the hot seat like they haven't even made the trade official, and they have to go tap Harrison Barnes on the shoulder on the bench and say, you got to get up out of here because you've been traded, and it's already leaked, right? Okay.
So LeBron said, I don't like that.
Okay.
All right, a lot of opinions.
To your point with...
No, you're good, Chris.
Go ahead. I was just going to say with the collective bargaining, I think the owners are really going to try to come hard next time they bargain. Yeah. Okay. Because they saw James Harden. They saw Anthony Davis. I don't know what they can do, but they will try to take it to the players in the next bargaining. And everyone I've covered, the players lose. Yep. Every single one they've lost. Because you're talking about wealthy owners who made their money elsewhere versus rich players who at some point need that paycheck. So it's going to be a lot different probably in the next
Unless you go, when you do $70 million off the court, we good.
Well, yeah, LeBron's one of the few.
One.
Yeah.
So that's why we do what's in the best interest of the team. We don't think about us. Because we just think about us. We like kick rock. I want $100 million.
Okay. But you don't have Jordan money.
There you go. See, there you go. We talk about Jordan.
His birthday.
You see what I'm saying?
Happy birthday, Michael.
Should we rename the show a celebration for Michael Jordan?
No mercy.
Sunday on Fox, the NASCAR Cup Series returns to Daytona as Chase Elliott looks to defend his win at the 14-turn road. All the action starts Sunday, 2:30 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Well, Deshaun Watson still wants out of Houston, and Panthers insider David Newton predicted Carolina could give up 3 first-round picks and Christian McCaffrey to get the job done. The Panthers have made QB a priority this offseason and reportedly offered Teddy Bridgewater and the 8th overall pick to the Lions for Matthew Stafford before Detroit decided to make a deal with the Rams instead. Now, they could look to part with their best player and leverage their draft future to get the guy. Shannon, is this too much or not enough to get Deshaun Watson here?
The leverage that Deshaun has, Skip, is that he has a no-trade clause. So he's going to have to agree to waive that to go anywhere they potentially could possibly want to trade him. Now, that's the King's ransom. 3 number ones, Christian McCaffrey. You're probably going to have to throw in Teddy Bridgewater also, Skip. But the question is Deshaun Watson, does he really want to go to Charlotte? Now, I don't know if Charlotte, but I feel comfortable in saying that Charlotte is probably not high up on the list of teams that he would be interested in going to. And so that's the problem that you're going to run in. Skip, if he wanted out, he had no trade clause. You could trade him anywhere you wanted to. No questions asked. But because he's going to have to waive that no trade clause, he's basically going to pick where he wants to go. But they're in the ballpark. You know it's going to take 3 first-rounders because if Matthew Stafford got 2 first-rounders at 32, what's a 25-year-old going to get in his prime? It's going to take you at least that. And they're going to want some young players. So Carolina is on the right path. And I believe that's what other teams are going to have to. You're going to have to start with the 3 first-round picks, Skip. And you're going to have to start with some two quality players. And maybe you might have to go throw in a 3rd rounder just for good measures.
Maybe.
But I don't know if the Carolina Panthers is high on Deshaun's priority list of locations he wants to start his career over at.
So I'm on record yesterday with you. There's nothing that's too much for Deshaun Watson. No. This is a first in the history of this league. A 25-year-old quarterback, proven commodity. We can go back and forth how good he is, top 10, top 5. I think he's top 2 or 3. He's on the market Maybe. But it's going to take 5 kings' ransoms. It's going to take more than you can even imagine, and he will be worth every last penny of it because he can win you a championship.
Yes.
He is that good.
Yes.
We know it. We don't know Trevor Lawrence. You think so,
right?
But you don't know that for a fact. Looks like he's the next it kid. You know, like
I've seen Deshaun do this at the highest level.
You have. You saw it in college.
Yes.
You've seen it in professional football for a sorry franchise and team. And if you get him in a happy place with a much better team, better run team, Lord knows what might happen. Well, Super Bowls could happen, and they could be plural.
Right.
Okay.
If he gets you one, it's worth it.
Okay. So Carolina. Would he be at all intrigued about playing in the Carolinas? He played in South Carolina, at Clemson, obviously.
Which is close, very close.
Very close. He's from the South. He's from
Gainesville, Georgia.
Okay. Would that appeal to him a little bit? Maybe a little bit.
Right.
But if I'm Deshaun, I'm thinking, well, wait a second. I'm undercutting myself because they're going to have to give so much for me.
Right.
It's going to hurt my chances there.
Right.
Because I'm not as big a Christian McCaffrey fan as you are because you grew up, I mean, he grew up around you. You watched him grow up in the locker room, right?
Yep.
But I love him as a kid. We had him on at the Super Bowl a year ago, and he is top-rate, top-drawer. You know, his character is as high as you can get, and he will give you every ounce of what he's got.
Right.
He's going to get beat up because he's not quite big enough to carry the ball and catch the ball that many times, but still, he's a very good football player, proven commodity.
Right.
Well, Deshaun would say, well, wait a second, I don't have him, you know, because he's going back for me.
And I think that's one of the things, Skip, that you guard against. The Melo situation going to the Knicks.
That's it.
Melo thought, man, look, they got some great players. But to get you, they had to send all those players to the Nuggets. And so when you got it, you're like, well, what the heck? I thought.
And then your whole draft future has gone back to Houston.
So now you can't draft. So he's like, hold on. Y'all get, okay, now we get nothing in the draft coming for the next 3 years, and that's fine. And you take away my best weapon?
Yep. Okay. So Jets. Everybody says Jets.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to get back Sam Darnold. You were a fan of him before the draft. I was not.
Yes.
Does Houston really want Sam Darnold? I wouldn't. I don't think he would be your future. Okay.
Well, you don't necessarily have to take Sam Darnold, but you could take Sam Darnold and then take that second pick and go in a different direction. Or you could say, no, I want the 3 first-round pick, one of them which is the second pick in this year's draft, and get Zach Wilson or get a guy that you want and move forward like that. So maybe, Skip, maybe you say, you know what? I don't want Sam Darnold. Give me 3 first-rounders. Give me a 3 and a 4, and we'll call it a day. And you do what you need to do with Sam Darnold.
Okay, I'm going to say what I proposed from the start. The deal that makes the most sense to me for both parties is Jacksonville. I know it's in the division, but still, Urban Meyer just had a rough week with that Iowa strength coach.
I don't know what
it was a debacle. Well, it was a debacle, and they fixed it.
Yeah.
But how great would it be to say, well, we go get Deshaun, and we're going to give you Trevor Lawrence. So you can start over with the next generation's.
I still believe they're going to want Trevor Lawrence, and they're going to want another first-round pick.
Well, that's fine. I would do that if I'm Jacksonville because
they got $70 million in cap space. You could with Deshaun Watson, you can build a fortress around him.
Yes. And Houston can sell Trevor Lawrence.
Yes.
Like we're starting fresh with the best prospect in the last, decade?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so that fits for me, even though it's within the division, because Deshaun would say, okay, I'm going to go there. They got some pieces there. Back to no state income tax, so we can acquire free agents.
Yes.
I'll be a free agent magnet like Brady was. And here you'd go. That's the one that makes sense because it gives Houston hope. It gives you something to start with that you can bank on, you can bet on.
And to your point, Skip, about the Trevor Lawrence, I've heard people say, Mel Kiper, I think Mel Kiper said this, there have been 4 can't-miss quarterbacks since he's been doing this, and he's been doing it 40 years.
Yep.
He said Elway, he said Peyton Manning, he said Andrew Luck, and now this kid Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
He says those are the 4 can't-miss that you. So if you get an opportunity, yes, I believe. But like I said, Skip, because he has that no trade, if Deshaun wants to go play in Jacksonville.
Okay, I don't know, but it's a deal that would work.
Yeah. I like 49ers. Skip, I was there from the first time this came out. I said the 49ers would be perfect for him.
Okay, that's fine. Then John Lynch and Kyle Shannon, They have
they're not going to make the mistake they made last year by not pursuing Tom Brady.
They should have pursued Tom Brady for 2 or 3 years. I agree, because he could have gone home, literally gone home.
Right.
But in this case, they should bet the ranch on Deshaun. Whatever it takes to get him, they should just go get him.
If I know if Kyle is just like his father, he will bet the ranch on his kid.
They are. They're like that. And I think John Lynch is a plunger also.
Yes.
So I would not rule them out of this derby.
But I don't, like I said, Skip. That's a premium package, 3 firsts, and arguably the best running back in football, or the top 3 running back in football. Right now I like the big kid in King Henry. Yep. But that's a king's ransom, Skip. That's a start. So basically, Carolina just gave everybody the blueprint. This is the starting point.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see how this all plays out, because every day it feels like something new.
No mercy.
When asked about playing the Nets' Big Three for the first time on Thursday, LeBron James pumped the brakes on calling it an unprecedented collection of talent, reminding reporters, quote, "Have we forgotten about KD, Steph, and Clay already?" I mean, there you go. There you go, right there. LeBron, of course, lost back-to-back finals to the Warriors' Big Three that he referenced right there. Chris Broussard is back joining us on Undisputed. So, Chris, do you agree with LeBron here?
Well, first, I'm guessing that Skip senses an ulterior motive.
Oh.
But I won't go there. I'll be interested in seeing what he says. But I'm going with the Golden State guys, the Steph, Clay, and KD. And I've got 5 reasons why. Number 1, the pieces fit together better. When those 3, when KD went to Golden State, we had no questions about whether or not it was going to work. Because none of the guys are ball dominant. None of them needed the ball in their hands a lot to be effective and give you 20-plus points. Obviously, James Harden and Kyrie have been ball dominant. They dribble it a lot, which can make it more difficult to fit together. Now, they're fitting together great offensively, but theoretically, their games are a lot more ball dominant than the Golden State guys. 2, Golden State was better defensively. And I'm not just talking about Draymond Green, who's not even a part of this conversation. You had KD, who was younger, and I'm sure was a better defender at that point than he can be at this point, a little older, off an Achilles injury. And then Klay Thompson was a legitimately very good defender. He made an all-NBA defensive team. Steph obviously is in the category of Harden and Kyrie. None of them are really great defenders. The third thing, better shooters. As well as Harden and Kyrie shoot, and they are great shooters. Steph Curry is the best shooter in NBA history. So good that he changed the game. He literally changed the way the NBA is played because he's such a great shooter. And Clay is arguably the second greatest shooter of all time. Again, that enables you to fit better together. And certainly for today's game, the better shooters, that's a huge thing you have. 4th, no drama. They were low-maintenance guys in Golden State. KD had a little drama, but for the most part, that's a low-maintenance group. In Brooklyn, I love his game, but I got to worry about Kyrie. He was playing great at the beginning of the season, and then all of a sudden just went AWOL. Is that going to happen again? Is Kyrie going to be happy the entire season playing shooting guard? Or will he get the itch to have the ball in his hands more again? Even last night, why was Kyrie sitting out? I know they said back tightness, but I bet you he plays the next 5 games and is fine and plays great. Like, they need to be on the floor as much as possible. KD is legitimately injured, hamstring. But Kyrie, Harden, they don't need to be just sitting out to rest. All right, so the drama quotient is there. And then here's the final thing. Steph and Clay, before KD got there, they proved that they could lead a team to a championship. They proved they didn't need this transcendent LeBron or KD or somebody like that to lead them to a championship. They didn't need a stacked team. They did it on their own. KD was certainly the best player on those Golden State teams, but he went to a champion already. He has still yet to prove he can lead his own team to a championship, even though he was the best player. Kyrie hit one of the greatest shots in NBA history, maybe the greatest. But obviously that was LeBron's team. Kyrie hasn't had much playoff success without LeBron James yet. And we know Harden has yet to prove that he can lead a team to a championship. So for all of those reasons, I'm going with Golden State.
Well, I don't like to disagree with you, but I'm going to have to disagree with you. And I say KD is KD, so that's a push. And although James Harden is not the shooter that Steph is, he can do things that Steph can't because he can get to the basket and he shoots as many free throws. So we've seen James Harden average 35, 36 points a night. So I'm going to say, just for this argument right here, Chris, I'm going to say Steph and James Harden are a push. Now, because even though Kyrie is not the pure shooter that Clay is, what he can do with the basketball, Clay can't do. Clay's not putting the ball on the floor and finishing at the rim like this kid can. This kid has mid-range. He has the three. He shoot the. You foul him, he go to the free throw line. He has a better all-around offensive game than Klay Thompson. So I'm gonna give him the edge on that. They average about 5 points more per game. James Harden has basically said, you know what? I'm gonna be the conventional point guard. I'm gonna average somewhere between 11 and 12 assists a night. And my average is going to come down substantially from what it was the last 3 or 4 years. Skip, he was like 32, 33 points a game over the last 3 or 4 years. He's probably going to average somewhere around 24, 25. Not very many guys are willing to concede. Say, you know what? I'll let you slash 8, 9 points off my average or what I've been averaging for the betterment of the team. When I look at this, just those three, Clay, Steph, KD, versus James Harden, KD, and Kyrie, I ain't seen anything like this. There's never been a guys that can handle the ball, that can put the ball in the basket like these three guys can. No, sir. Now, they're going to have to pay it off,
What
Chris.
about defense?
No. I'm just
about defense?
Yeah, that's what I told Skip. The Golden State Warriors were a better defensive team. And they're going to have to pay, ultimately, in order for them to be judged correctly, they're going to have to pay it off with a championship. But if you just look at player for player and skills, nah, this right here, we ain't never seen anything like this.
Thank you, Shannon Sharp. Are you listening, LeBron James? And Maverick and Rich and Randy. Did you hear what he just said? Give me the KD Nets. Give me the KD Nets. Excuse me. And by the way, Chris, back to your first question. It was like 2 hours ago, but yes, LeBron has an ulterior motive. He's trying to defend his legacy here, and I do not blame him for that, but he's going to fail because we have never seen a three-man offensive firepower like these three Nets. And I do think KD is a push, and I don't think he's lost much, if any, on defense at age, what is he,
32 probably?
Yeah. But again, he looks like KD to me so far.
Yeah.
Okay, and by the way, no drama in Golden State? Well, maybe it wasn't public, but man, there was some private drama going on between KD and Steph, the jealousy that emanated there. And finally, KD versus Draymond got really ugly in the end, and that's why KD is no longer there. Okay, so back to KD push, because it's KD versus KD.
Right.
But hey, I'm sorry, James Harden is just a better all-around player than Steph Curry. They have both struggled in the postseason because I can show you a bunch of Steph numbers when they blew that 3-1 lead to LeBron's Cavaliers, obviously. He came up even smaller than he is. So they've both struggled in the postseason. But James is a better all-around scorer than Steph. Look at 40-point games. James has 99 to 39 for Steph. Better point guard. James is incredible. He's like got offensive genius as a point guard that we're just see flourishing now. And rebounding, James is a triple-double waiting to happen because he can get you 13 or 14 rebounds, and he has in his career 51 triple-doubles to Steph's 7. So, again, defensive disruptor. Who's better? I think James is a better defensive disruptor than Steph is.
And what we're seeing from Steph this year, what we haven't seen in the past, we've seen him going to the rim more. Steph didn't normally go to the rim like we're seeing him go to the rim this year. That's a James Harden specialty.
It is. I would agree. Kyrie is a better all-around scorer than Clay.
Yeah.
Clay can get even hotter than Steph can get. We know that.
Right.
But Kyrie, man, he's got 130-point games in his career to 57 for Clay. I'm sorry, if you want to start going down to Draymond versus Joe Harris or whatever you want to do, then it starts to get
No, we just keep it
I'm doing
to
3 versus 3, and I will take the KD 3 in Brooklyn over the Golden State 3.
See, I think you're looking at it individually, and obviously those guys are great individuals, but I could have stacked up, if I stacked up LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love versus Clay, Draymond, and Steph. I'm taking the 3 from Cleveland all day, every day. And granted, we know Kyrie and Love got hurt, so they didn't play in that first series,
right.
But the first game. But I'm just saying, like, individually, I'm looking more as a team aspect, where I need somebody that can defend. I need the guys to fit together better. I get where you're coming from, because obviously those 3 guys are great. But what if they don't win? What if they win 1 ring in their tenure together? Can we really say that those 3 were better than the group in Golden State?
Well, they're going to have to pay it. They're going to have to pay it off with multiples. But I think the thing is, what we're seeing thus far is that the struggles that I thought they would have, I haven't seen. There's been a seamless transition to me, because James Harden has been the point. Kyrie is playing his natural position, which is the 2, and he's been dynamic. KD is KD. KD can play 1 through 4 if he wants to. So it doesn't really. KD is the outlier, because he was going to be unaffected by. He's going to be unimpacted by anything that they did, because he's just that great. But James Harden has come in and done his thing last night. See, I'm not surprised by last night, because James Harden just did that for the last 8 years in Houston. You see James Harden go solo. You get a couple of guys that can make some threes, and now he opens up the floor, and guess what he started doing? Getting to the hole, left hand and 1, kick to Joe Harris, Tyler Johnson, Cabarro.
TLC.
Yeah. Yep. So now, but you know what, Chris? But when you look at it, yes, individually, but you must admit they played better together than you thought they would at this point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I envision real problems on the offensive end.
I did too.
And there's none. The problem is defense. If there's going to be a problem, it's going to be defense.
So, Chris, nobody I know knows the NBA better than Shannon Sharp. So I'm going with his opinion about this. He's saying KD Nets. I'm going with Shannon Sharp.
We got some. Hey,
it's over. It's done.
Hey, we got a can for him on Thursday too, Chris. We got a can for him.
Yeah, have we already made a bet on this one? We did, right? I feel
not
like
yet. We got
not yet. We have to wait and decide who's playing. Okay.
No mercy.
Saturday, it's a Fox College Hoops blockbuster as 10th-ranked Villanova battles UConn, followed by number 5 Illinois taking on Minnesota. It all tips off Saturday at 12:30 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Zion Williamson shined in last night's 144-113 win over the Grizzlies, dropping 31 points on 13 for 16 shooting. With the performance, Zion became the only player in league history to average more than 23 points on 60+% shooting in his first 50 career games. The 20-year-old was confident this is only the beginning, telling reporters after, quote, "I definitely feel a lot more comfortable, but you know me. I know there's always room to grow, so I'm just going to keep building on it." Shannon, is Zion overrated or underrated?
No, he's not overrated. He's what I thought he would be at this point in time, Skip. He's a young player that he understands that he's going to have to expand his game. Skip, he's only attempting 2 shots outside of 5 feet. So as he starts to age, he's going to have to open his game up. He's going to have to shoot the ball from the outside the paint. It's not going to always be dunks and layups. And if he can expand his game, because he's so explosive, he's so quick. So he's he's 24, 60% shooting, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. I would like to see, Skip, there's no reason he shouldn't be averaging double-digit rebounds. He should be Charles Barkley. He's more explosive than Charles Barkley, and we know what Charles Barkley was when he came out, Skip. So I'm surprised he's not averaging more rebounds, but the points, he's explosive. What I am surprised by is how little defense he plays. He doesn't even care on that is. I don't know what that is. And that's why they're in the position that they're in, because you would think they got a tandem that's the second or third highest scoring tandem between him and B.I. Brandon Ingram. And they have the record they have because they don't play any defense. But he's what I thought he would be. And when he expands his game, you're going to see Zion take that game to the next level.
I like your assessment. I'm still thinking and seeing that he's an underrated offensive force because I have never seen anything like this
he's
young man. He is 20 years of age. When he wheels to the basket, when he spins, it's with such explosive quickness for a man that big.
Yes.
He has such raw but controlled power, and then such a soft touch at the rim, ambidextrous.
Yeah,
it's a combination of forces you've never seen before.
His body control for a man that size, you might not ever see it again.
So we've seen him on a 6-game holy terror in which he's making 70% of his shots. To your point, they're all mostly at the basket.
Right.
He sat down last night and took a 3 and just swished it. He's making 78% of his free throws. So where is all that? You can do that.
Yeah.
I saw it at Duke. He'd shoot jump shots at Duke.
Yep.
I don't see any of that.
Right.
I saw him rebound the ball at Duke. I don't see that here. I saw him block shots at Duke. I don't see much of that at all.
Yeah.
So what is happening? Where are you? And I also see him get lost in the offense because they don't feature him at all. What he gets sometimes just by accident. It's late in the clock. Oh, let's dump it down to Zion, see if he can wheel on somebody, right?
Yep.
He and Brandon Ingram do not connect to me. We're talking about the Nets fit together. They don't fit. And Brandon's taking 18 shots a game, Zion 16 shots. But Zion's come every once in a while.
Right.
You know, willy-nilly, sporadic. And boy, listen, Brandon Ingram, when he gets the ball in his hands, it is usually going up.
Yeah.
So to your point, this team is 12-15 because it's second to worst in defensive efficiency.
Yeah.
It's 7th best in offensive efficiency. So they got that going.
And what's Stan Van Gundy's hallmark, Skip? He's a defensive guy.
Supposedly. I'm not. Listen,
you hadn't seen it, huh?
I first guessed it. I don't love him. And he's older school, and I don't know if he's speaking their language yet.
Right.
I don't know if he's getting through to them yet. And yet, your biggest issues, your biggest concerns about Zion, can he stay healthy?
Right.
Is he fit enough?
I've been impressed, Skip, because they're playing these games every other day, and he's out there playing 25, 30 minutes a night.
And he's played 26 or 27 games. He's averaging 33 minutes a night. That's beyond what you sort of half expected of him, right?
Yes,
You thought that was going to be a problem. I don't know if he'll ever get in great shape, but whatever shape he can get in, he's in it right now because he's running up and down the floor.
Skip, he's unbelievable. Like I said, you and I both agree on this. He's 24. He should be 24-11, 24-12. He should be a
24 points.
You're right. He should be a double-double guy. There ain't no reason he should be averaging 7 rebounds with his jumping ability and that body to be able to just box out and just grab rebounds. So he should be a double-double guy.
Hey, he can score 30 a game with no problem. He could lead this league in scoring without a lot of sweat to me because he just got all the tools to do that. Remember, he's only 20. He's now played a grand total of 50 NBA games, 50 NBA.
Right.
That would be for a full 82-game season. That's 61% of a full season.
Right.
Okay, well, let's just hang on here and see what evolves because he is still evolving, but not on the defensive end.
Yes, and that's what you want to see, Skip. You want to see, and that's what guys do. Guys that become great in this league, you look at Dame from year 1 to look at Dame Lillard now. You look at Steph from year 1, year 2 to look at him now. Look at LeBron. Skip, remember everybody, back off, stand up under the basket. He can't shoot. True. He can't make it. And that's what that's the step that Giannis is going to have to take. He's going to have to start making those shots. Eventually, they're going to say, Zion, we're just not going to let you dunk the ball tonight.
That is
Shoot
correct.
the ball outside
You better believe it.
And so that's what's going to, and especially if they're fortunate enough to make the playoffs, they're going to build a wall like they built it for Giannis.
I think they try to build walls for him, and they can't keep him away. He is quicker and more explosive than Giannis.
Skip, you got it. Because if he gets the ball down to the block, he's wheeling or he's facing you up, and then that first step, he's so quick. And then his second step, he could lay the ball up, miss it, and grab it again before the other guy realized what just happened.
I agree.
But he's fun to watch, Skip. They got 144 points in regulation.
And they're 12-15.
They're 12-15.
And not in the playoffs.
They don't play no defense, Skip.
Well, it's just the beginning.
No mercy.
Guys, Tom Brady's fitness guru, Alex Guerrero, has revealed what the GOAT has on a cheat day from his diet, telling People magazine, quote, "We believe in variety. If he wants pizza, he'll eat it. He just wants it to be a really good slice, and he doesn't do that often." Skip, do you like this concept?
Once again, Tom Brady is a man after my own heart.
Oh,
He's actually copying me.
No, you copy him that weekend.
I knew you were going to go there.
Ernestine and I have had a ritual for the last 15 years. Every Friday night, she goes and gets me one slice and only one slice of pizza. And it is the best because in New York City, it was the famous Ray's Pizza. One slice and one slice only. Here it is from Italy, which is fairly near where you live in Century City in the mall. And we eat it ritually every Friday night, and when it's gone, I go right back to chicken and broccoli and rice because when it's over, it is over.
Well, I have a cheat meal. You know how I do it, Skip. I'm the same way.
You don't have one piece. You have you eat the pie.
No. I can't eat the whole piece. Kill my stomach. But what I do, I have 35 meals a week. I get 2 meals in which I can eat whatever I want.
Okay.
Whatever I want. So for me, you know, I like Denny's. I get the cinnamon roll pancakes, hash browns.
From Denny's?
Yeah, I'm simple. Skip
I
all
thought
that.
you were better than Denny's.
No, I ain't better than Denny's.
Yeah.
Denny's got banging food.
You live up in Bel Air.
That ain't got nothing to do with it.
Palatial estate. You don't go to Denny's.
I go to Strand House too sometimes. Hopefully they started back opening up. But Skip, I get it. You know, you want to have some flexibility. I'm not a big pizza guy myself. The dairy kills me. But yeah, you enjoy it, Tom. I mean, let the man enjoy his life. But I didn't think he was eating all that. Oh, he eats avocado ice cream. He eat all that. No, I was very strict. But there are times, Skip, that you know what? I don't want to eat this bull job no more. I'm going to eat me something else. But it works for him. Whatever works.
Mostly he eats green.
You've been copying Tom Brady pizza ritual.
I did it long before I even knew who Tom Brady was.
No, you didn't. You've been knowing Tom Brady for 21 years.
I knew you were going to bring up your cheat meals.
Yeah, you eat pizza.
I agree. Yeah. I also like Denny's, Shannon. I used to always go there with my grandpa. And I don't know the last time I had one slice of pizza.
I haven't had a slice of pizza.
Who has the willpower? You guys are
probably
so much better than me.
2 years.
I'm inspired to eat better. That is it for Undisputed. Good stuff today, guys. We're back tomorrow with more. The Herd is on right now. Have a good day, guys.